What is up, guys? Wraec here with new video, and today, well, we don't really have a whole lot to do in Idle Heroes in this week, to be honest. It's just like Soul Awakening session week. I'm not doing Soul Awakening session. You can see I have 300 points. People going crazy there. Pretty good still around the top 5 mark, which is an SS core. Very nice value this time. But other than that, it's not really interesting for me this week. There isn't really any interesting thing going on. Next week, of course, Christmas event, release of Transcendence Your Tomb, which a lot of people are very excited for, I have to say. A lot of people are very interested in Your Tomb. I think he's called Your Tomb. I hope he's called Your Tomb. I always forget the name. Your Tomb. And he will be our 4th Transcendence Assassin. First one, of course, being SFX, LDA, and then MFG. And I have to say, people already asked me if I think that he's good, or it will be good. And obviously, I mean, like, I can't really say anything about that. He is going to have pause. No idea if that will buff him in any way. But the thing is, obviously, we didn't see the skills yet. The skills of the normal Your Tomb, which sometimes those basic skills can be indicative of the skills of the later Transcendence hero. They have multiple hits, which is good for an assassin, with some holy damage in there, and we have Divine Retribution, obviously. And Divine Retribution is damage that can't be reduced by the enemy's defenses, so that is pretty good. And if we see stuff like that in the later Transcendence hero, well, obviously this is going to be a strong assassin, ignoring defenses and such. So, can be interesting. We'll have to see what he's all about. Have to also acknowledge, though, that there is currently no assassin in the meta. There are some people that use MFG. Nobody really uses LDA at the moment, and there are some Drake teams with SFX. But other than that, the strong heroes most of the time have been the warriors. Sometimes around the mages. If you look at the warriors like ATD, we have LFA, and then there's SSM, DTV, HHA. All of those are pretty strong. Geggy, kind of not. It's not really in the meta. He's a strong PvE enemy, though. If you face him on Island 7, oh my god, he's insane. Yeah, so we will see about that. I'm not really sure how good he's going to end up, but there are certainly some promising skills there. So, what do I do in such a slow week? Some Force War, obviously, but other than that, I try to look at the game modes that I haven't cleared yet, and there aren't too many of those. We still want to do a stream and clear Sealand. I cleared Void Campaign, showed that, I think. It's like 7-6 is cleared. We got place 2, which is nice. So, everything is cleared here, basically. The last game mode there I really haven't done everything I can is Realms Gate. And Realms Gate, we need the perfect smash. We have the perfect smash for 140, but now I want to get the perfect smash for 160. I already unlocked that, not 161, 160. And I think we're just going to see how good our team currently is. Do a few fights here, check out what's happening. First fight, obviously, instantly being the Dark team. There are some interesting things to say about those teams, obviously. We still have the stats of those. Quite glad about that. Those were released before they took basically all of those data mineable stats out of the game. So we know a lot about them. So let me tell you some info. So here we are looking at the Dark team, level 608, as you already saw, 370 million life on the highest HP, which is the Sleepless, lowest HP on this one. Is the Armor, no, it's not the Armor War, is the Dark Athendol, actually, 247 billion. They have between 8 million and 10 million attack, which is quite a lot, actually. And the speed is 3,494, which obviously means we are slower than those guys. On top of that, Divine Power 10, which is quite insane. You have to see that there is, to show that, I guess, there is the Divine Power gap. So we have this here. So in theory, if you have a Divine Power 0 hero and he gets hit by one of those Divine Power 10 enemies, they will have a 100% damage boost, giving them essentially Giant Killer against our team, which is not good, to say the least. But we also have Divine Power 10 now on some of our heroes, so it should help a little bit. I made a few teams that will hopefully help us clear a lot of the stuff. The thing that kept me the last time from actually going for a clear here, that is actually the right lineup, by the way, was that the problem persisted that I died against the puppets. And if you die against enemies, you obviously don't get the perfect smash, which, yeah, kind of sucks. But TBB certainly helps. I'm in a bit of a CC team, so if you have a situation like this, we can go into CC against some of the enemy teams. There is a bit of a problem, like, for example, the Michelle in the light team is nearly immune to CC. It's 100% control immunity, which doesn't mean we can't CC her. It's just very difficult. And that combined with the mark damage from the ice model in that team is pretty insane. So, yeah. And then we can run into situations like this, and you can already see how high the damage on HHA here, for example, is just by getting hit by the carry here, which is not the insane damage. The insane damage definitely comes from the Sleepless. So stuff like this, the Dark one pretty much works. I don't really see how we can lose that. Let's skip the next one and advance to the next stage. And obviously for the perfect smash, we need 3 map clears in a row with full successes. So those are easy. We can fight them still. Let's see how that looks. With no failures. So we can't lose a fight. Still deal a lot of damage. I didn't notice that the middle guy was a boss. CC immune? Wait, we can find that out if the Void Illusions guy is CC. I wonder about that. He shouldn't be. That's interesting. If that guy is a boss though, he is CC immune. Because Tussibot lists sets as 5 normal dudes. But obviously if this one is big, then he's not a normal dude. Usually the bosses, for example, in Void Campaign, they are immune to CC. And this looked like this guy's immune to CC too. So that would make that 2 types of enemies. In that fight here, by the way, that is the one that I meant. Asmodel sets marks on your team, crit marks, and Michelle is nearly immune to CC. Meaning, as soon as this Michelle crits, it basically kills your front row, making that a fight that can pretty much take a turn for the worse. Or pretty fast take a turn for the worse, we should say. The damage, the incoming damage is not that insane. We get the full CC nearly here. You can see the shell. There we go. And that is like the power of Starving Jahra that we see here. Despite this Michelle having 100% control immunity, that doesn't help against our Starving Jahra. Starving Jahra is still able to CC a hero with 100% control immunity, and that is of course because she has an insane role. Talking control, precision, CI offset, and did you see that? The crit mark triggered there, and I don't even know which hero was there, but it's gone. And yeah. What's that? Our SQH just randomly died. And yeah, that is really what happens. The Michelle triggering the crit mark of the S model, which just instantly nuked our SQH through Unbending Will, because mark damage doesn't trigger Unbending Will. Insane, yeah. It does work though. Usually it does work. There's a bit of RNG to it, but you can't really do a whole lot against it. One thing that would work, and that I would do actually to optimize against this, I think we are skipping Dark, because I don't think there is any chance we lose Dark. There is some RNG with Shadow and with Light. One thing that I would do if it was possible would be to have a PvE role on my TBB with like control, precision, CI offset, stuff like this. I don't think there is much that can go wrong here, unless maybe an Insane Time by the Oberon. Not sure. I don't think we can lose that. And I would run really this control, precision, CI offset role on the TBB, maybe have some holy armor there. And maybe DR even would be interesting, would be pretty good. But that would require a system like we have for stones for awakening bonus stats as well. And we sadly don't have that. So we can't switch our awakening bonus stats at will, which is pretty sad. Because, well, in PvP you certainly want other bonus stats than in PvE. Insane hit here by our LFA. But still, our DBB also doing some nice damage. Soul power at the moment on the MFF and on the on the LFA, which is something I usually do for Flame Shrine. And we can get some buffs here. And we definitely don't want armor. All damage dealt. Backline, all damage dealt for S and above 30%. We take that. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is definitely something we're looking for. I hope. Oh, this is our first fight against Abyss. Let's check that out. What is dangerous here? Well, certainly the cruise stun, I would say. Then we have King Barton counterattacks, which should be shut down by our TBB. Delacium is one of the hardest hitting heroes with the single hit in campaign, I think, even. Every time I get hit by the balls he throws, it's insane. Like, hits people into Unbending Will, can be quite mad. We have a Nakia here. She bleeds the back row, doesn't do much to the front row, and reduces your speed by, I think, 60 or 80, something like that. Scarai, not really that dangerous. Queen can counterattack, but it's also not that dangerous. So I think we are on at a pretty good spot here. Not too much that can go wrong, as long as we survive the Nakia bleed, which doesn't seem to be a problem considering. Well, the Cruise hit the back row. Ah, yeah, there you see it. Like, bam, into Unbending Will, Insane. Okay, we killed him. I think, yeah, that's basically it. As long as this King Barton stays stunned and we, maybe we could even kill with the overkill. Okay, that was good. Yeah. Cruise didn't do anything. King Barton didn't do anything. But we still had 2 heroes that entered Unbending Will, which is quite insane. LFA does reasonably well for such stages. It would be better to use another hero. Particularly good, I would say, Star Swordsman Mockman is one of the most insane burst heroes. Should be very nice for this, especially for those stages. In the past, I tried SFX as well. SFX can work if you combine it with maybe like a Drake or something like that. Can we even use normal heroes here? I'm not even sure. We should be able to. So, yeah, that's the thing. And then, well, of course, you can combine that with an LFA. If you are faster than the enemy, it should be quite difficult. I'm not sure about the Realmscape buffs. There is a speed buff for assassins, so maybe SFX can work in that sense. But I doubt it will be enough. Over 3,500 speed. Well, maybe if you have like an SSS tier SFX, run like full soul power for 600 speed or something. Then if there is then the buff from... Is it possible in theory even? Is it possible? Let's check that out. Let's take a little detour and check that out. Not quite sure about the amount of soul power we can get. Let's check out the buffs for Realmscape in the meantime. So we have speed buffs from hero faction. Those should work for the assassin heroes. There is assassin speed as an artifact. We have 101 speed for assassins here, as you can see. So that is definitely the first step. I think it's about 600 speed from soul power at the top end that you can get. And then is there anything in Realmscape? There is another 101 speed here. So we have like probably on a then we have like 900 speed, probably around 900 speed. Is that correct? Oh, plus 220. So it's 600 plus 2 times 100. It's about 800, and then another 220 for monsters. So it's about 1020 speed on top of the base speed and the Awakening copy. Okay, that makes sense. Some good buffs in here. Don't consider any of those. Let's check that out. Let's compare that to maybe like this Starwing Jahra. That should be reasonably fair. We can get another bit of speed here. We can adjust at 75. So we have a speed stone, we have full speed gear, and then we add another 75 speed to that, and another 16 speed, which is 81. This is 91. Just this minus 9 is 2,573, and then we have, say, roughly 1,000 speed that we add on top of that, which indeed makes us slightly faster than the enemies in in Realm's Gate 160. So an SFX with full soul power, full awakening, and as a homeowner with a speed artifact like A and B should be able to outspeed the enemies there. Yeah, so if you have an SSS SFX and like 10,000 soul power or something like that lying in your bag, that might be a strategy that you're interested in. So let's try this RNG stage a bit more. Kind of interesting to calculate that. But I don't think there's like anything else that can outspeed it. I think this is still the best strategy that we can use. Just having our trusty TBB here with a bit support from the Starving Jahra, which helps a lot to CC this Michelle here. The reason this works, by the way, is because Starving Jahra also has a buff. Ooh, that could have been very dangerous. Has a buff that gives her more control immunity offset, and that was it with our SQH. She's once again gone. Yeah, but that works. Always the damage from the S model. Okay, very nice. Kind of interesting. The puppets are not even that tanky. I had to notice, okay, this one will always work. And Shadow is one we didn't fight yet. Puppets, I noticed, have less HP than pre-nerf stages of Void Island 6, which is kind of funny. Like E plus 13 HP, and we fought E plus 14 HP on the last stages of Island 6. And now it's nerfed, obviously, and now no stage in the Void campaign has this much HP anymore. The question here is, who does Gustin link to? And it's obviously our LFA, thank you for that. Yeah, this is like the most dangerous thing that just happened, because now the link to the LFA might mean that we run into some struggle here. Okay, we're lucky that was like off the brink of the end of our LFA. Can we clear that if our LFA dies? I think so, yes, but this Gustin will have to link to the right heroes, and that will mainly be our supports, and probably would even need some extra damage from SQH there, but then it would really end up with TBB carry, and that can be quite a problem. So yeah, would be kind of unfortunate if that happened. On this one, really the only thing that can go bad is our TBB getting killed by Penny. And I placed our TBB in the front row, obviously not only so that she gets hit by heroes hitting slot 1, but also to avoid this Unimax, which does an active skill on turn 1. It's not really, it's not correctly displayed, but he has a plus 50 energy passive skill. Gives him 50 energy at the beginning of a round, so he has full energy at the beginning of every fight without an energy artifact. Starts with an active skill that hits the entire back row and can inflict taunt, and taunt would be absolutely devastating to our TBB, so we have to avoid that. If he gets CC'd though, that doesn't work, and often the energy is not displayed correctly, but he has that passive skill. Is kind of interesting. He's the only hero I'm aware of that on base does an active skill on turn 1. And I remember the event where he was released. There were like two special things. There was a pack where you got the football skin for him, and you got a speed artifact. There was like an orange exclusive speed artifact or something like that that you got together with him, which obviously, I mean, if you don't want to use an A and B or a Receptor, has a reasonable synergy with him. You have the speed, you don't really need energy. Now, obviously, Elusive Mirror would work as well, and it would make this passive kind of useless if you were to use him. What's up with that Gustin? Look at that guy. It's just so hateful. Linking to our LFA again. We don't really do enough damage with our TBB, and that was very close last time. Okay. Now we have the situation where we have to clear those two. Yeah, you can see most of our heroes don't really do a whole lot of damage there. Not that great. And that was it with our SQH. It's still decent. It's still decent, I guess. Okay, that's the Gustin gone. Now we get the counter by the Horus, and I don't think we'll lose the single Horus, so that works out. But yeah, it can still be quite dangerous. If you're fighting a Gustin, he can always do a ton of damage. I think we'll skip that one. I want to fight the boss at the end. So maybe we'll just skip a bit ahead to not make this video super long. Let's decide on what we see. Backline allies attack is very tempting, 35% here. We take that. 35% extra attack for LFA and the 30% all damage dealt buff. Very nice. Is there anything interesting to fight here? I don't think any of those 4 stages can be particularly interesting, so we skip them. And then we have to fight the puppets, and I think against the puppets, I haven't tried the team against the puppets yet. I want to use a different version. We will look at both of those teams in a bit before we fight any puppets. And then we will see on which one we decide for. This one is pretty squishy, I believe. We have a more tanky team with DGN in it, so that should be a fair bit stronger. It's really just in this video that I first decide to go for 160 again. I unlocked it and then noticed, okay, it's a little bit too often that I lose here. Okay, that's our first puppet. We have the Trial of Plunder. Very high HP we are looking at here. Trial of Plunder, how much HP does that have? Let's take a second to find out. Okay, we're looking at about 2E plus 12 for each of the puppets. So yeah, we should definitely check out our teams here for a second. Let's see what we do. Yeah, that was a PvP team I thought about. I just got some comments during the last video about it, and I thought it was kind of interesting. It should be a dot buff team and never really got the copies to finish it, and yeah. The team that we just used was this one. Bit of tankiness here. The crown really doesn't help too much, I noticed. Like, our SQH was one of the heroes that died the most, so we could run Demon Ball there, I guess. SQH, Elusive Mirror. SQH, I say. TBB with Elusive Mirror, pretty important. Then we do some damage with Melodic Strings. And go for some extra CC with the Rui Scepter. And of course our role with the control position here helps as well. And the passive skill for the focus, which also provides control position and control immunity offset, is definitely pretty important. The other one that I try to use against the puppets, or will try to use against the puppet, is this one. Way more tanky, which should help. So I know the only thing really keeping you alive here is Divine Power, and at least 2 of our heroes don't have that. So bit of a problem. We will see how well that works out. Let's try this. I don't know why it's called PvP DGN. Definitely not meant for PvP. Maybe, hopefully, we can beat this stage. So let's switch up that lineup to this one. Take a look. Plunder using this team DGN core. Last time I got beaten into a pulp. It was not very nice, and certainly this LFA doesn't look very healthy, and we have 4 enemies that can still strike us. So I'm not that confident that this will work out well. That the PDE is so low is very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate. At least we have decent blocks, so we get some shields back. Oh! Okay, that was not great. That was really not great. Quite sad. Interesting how low their HP is, though. Ah, they do so much damage. Those are not even bosses. That is so insane how they hit us down here. And then there is the DGN. DGN is such a monster. People underestimate how good she can be. Okay, that was fairly devastating and didn't work out at all. I still think it's insane how much damage those guys do. I'm not quite sure if it's really the way to run the LFA with the melodic strings here. It seems so dangerous. Seems so dangerous to do that. This one could be interesting. Running the cat. Or we go for a crown there. It's also probably possible. I mean, like, even I would probably remove that, put the crown on this guy, and put a fan on the LFA, and I think that should make it all a bit easier. Where's my fan here? I'm blind. It's It's there. Can't even click. Okay, let's try that again. Let's see if we can beat that. First attempt, certainly not good. Obviously cost us our perfect clear. But that's all right. We are in the means of finding a proper team, and I think it's all right if we take a little fail here. Oh, this first hit, like if you don't have divine power, like the MFF here, for example, instantly into Unbending Will. Instantly into Unbending Will, and she's dead. Like at this point, we have to think if it's even worth using her here, because that obviously didn't do us any good to have her in the team. Just took a hit and that was it. Okay. Not very nice. And now we have the insane hits. I mean, if our LFA survives, we are alright. I don't know when he does that, but those knife throws, bloody hell. They somehow do multiple hits and they kill you so hard. There are a lot of debuffs on those heroes. Not quite sure when they even do that. Is it the basic or the active? But that does so much damage. Okay, quite mad. Definitely have to work a little bit more on that, I suppose. But if I check it out, I'm not exactly sure what to improve yet. I think we're probably going to remove that MFF if we want to run a team here against those bosses. Maybe even go for something like Fairy Queen Vessel. And then those are little heroes. I'm not sure if we can... Maybe we can CC them even, I'm not sure. But the MFF has no sense. Like, it's if you don't have divine power on those heroes, it's quite difficult. We get 2 more divine power heroes coming up pretty soon. One will be Fairy Queen Vessel, the other one will be Star Alchemist Tom Xiang. Both of which would be fairly interesting for this team, though I don't want to... take the HHA out of this team because he just provides so many shields whenever he's hit. There probably should be a home on. I think that is something that I will improve. For now, maybe let's just try to go back to the energy artifact, hope that he's just not hit and try to go through like this. Because one single hit of this would absolutely destroy this stage. If that works out, we can fight the boss and that would be a good end for this video, I suppose. Let's see if that works out. Or if I go out of this quite sad. I don't think so. Bloody hell, it gets hit into Unbending Will again. And as long as we get shields, we are kinda okay. We have to survive one more basic and that was our last layer of Unbending Will. Oh no. Bloody hell, look how fast. She had a crown on her and didn't even work. Didn't help at all. Oh my god, those knives. Yeah, and the thing is, if you lose one time in this, it's not worth it to be on the difficulty. The difference between those difficulties is so low that doing a certain corruption is only worth it if you can manage to do it without losing. Otherwise, it just won't work out for you. It just won't be worth it. And that is like, yeah, that's sadly the case. So, don't think that this is like the proper lineup that we should use. Don't think the MFF is worth it. I think we're going to keep it at that. So, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see us in the next time.